Chapter 15, Part 3. In this section, we're going to talk about multiplication rule for independent and dependent events. Remember, we've talked about independent events. Independent events is when the outcome of one event does not impact the other. Typically, we will see problems that involve replacement. So I pick a card, I put it back into the deck, and then I pick a second card. Because of that replacement, the outcome of my first event didn't impact the second. We've seen this formula when I have two independent events. If I'm finding the probability of A and B, I start with taking the probability of A and multiplying by the probability of B. Our first example here, I am flipping a coin twice. This is a great example of independent events because the first flip has no impact on the second. I'm trying to find the chance I get tails both times. So I'm finding the probability of tails times the probability of tails. Well, the chance of landing tails each time is 1/2, and 1/2 times 1/2 is 0.25. The new piece today is talking about dependent events. Two events are dependent if the outcome of one event does impact the second. We will see this with no replacement. Okay, my formula starts off the same. I'm still taking the probability of A, but now I'm using a conditional probability where I'm multiplying by the probability of B given that A has happened. Okay, for example, in a gumball machine that has 8 pink gumballs, 6 white, 4 blue, and 2 yellow, what is the probability you get a pink gumball on the first try and a blue on the second? So what I'm finding here is the probability of getting pink and blue. Okay, so I'm going to start with finding the probability of pink, and then I know I'll multiply because it's an and then I need to stop and think whether these two things are independent or dependent. Well, because I am taking the gumball out of the machine, my first choice will impact the second, so the next thing I'll do is find the chance that I get a blue, given my first one was a pink. We're going to assume that this first thing happened when I go to find the second probability. The chances I get a pink gumball are 8, because there's 8 pink gumballs, out of, in total, there are 20. Okay, now I'm going to assume that this happened. I actually picked a pink gumball. So that means there are now 19 gumballs in the machine. So my denominator has changed. What are the chances now that I pick a blue? Well, I didn't get a blue gumball the first time, so there's still 4 blue remaining. I can type this into my calculator now to multiply. And we get 0.0842. Alright, go ahead and pause the video here, try the next two on your own, and then check back on the video to see how you did. Alright, on the first practice here, we were picking 3 cards without replacement. So the first one I needed to find was a king. On the first draw, there are 4 kings out of 52 total cards. I'm keeping that king in my hand, so then the second draw, I now have 51 cards instead of 52. There are still 4 queens available. And then on the third draw, I now have 2 cards in my hand, so there's 50 possible options, and 4 of them are jacks. After plugging into the calculator, you do get that crazy little E thing again, so make sure you are changing it to your decimal. Number 2, you're now doing the same kind of thing, but 3 separate draws. So that means you are putting the card back into the deck. So your denominator should be 52 each time. All right, number 3, 2 cards are selected from a standard deck of cards. The first card is placed back into the deck, so that's replacement before the second card is drawn. Find the following probabilities. So on this first one, I'm finding the probability of a heart and a club. So I'm going to start with finding the probability of picking a heart and multiply by the probability of picking a club. Out of my 52 cards, 13 of them are hearts. And then I'm multiplying by the probability of clubs. Since I'm placing the card back into the deck, there's still 52 cards available, and 13 of them are clubs. We should get 0.0625. Okay, and the next one, I'm finding the chances of getting 2 aces. So I want to find the chance of an ace times the chance of getting an ace again. On the first draw, there are 4 aces that I could pick out of 52. And on the second draw, again, because I placed the first back into the deck, there's again a 4 out of 52 chance. So 0.0059. Go ahead and pause. You can try C, D, and E, and then check your answers. All right, here are the answers for C, D, and E. Typically, students do pretty well with these with the replacement because you can think of them as 2 separate events. Okay, on number 4, we're doing kind of the same thing here where we're drawing 2 cards, but this time the card is not placed back into the deck before the second card is drawn, so there is no replacement this time. So for probability of heart and club, I want to find the chances that I pick a heart first, and then I'll multiply by the chances of picking a club given the first card that I chose was a heart. Okay, on the first draw, there are 52 total cards, and there are 13 of them that are hearts. On the second draw, there are only 51 options now because I have not placed the card back into the deck. And how many clubs are still available? 13. I will type that in. And we get 0.0637. Okay, on the next one, I need to have 2 aces. So I'm finding first the probability of picking an ace, and I'm multiplying it by the chance that I get an ace given I got an ace the first time. On the first draw, there's 52 cards available. 4 of them are aces. Now on the second draw, there's 51 total cards because 1 is in my hand, but there's actually 1 less ace now because this first card I'm assuming was an actual ace. So now there are only 3 aces left for me to choose from. Whoa. 0.0045. Okay, the next one, I need to have a red card and a 4 of spades. So on the first draw, I need to get a red. I'm multiplying by the chance of getting a 4 of spade, given the first card was red. Okay, on my first draw, there's 52 cards. 26 of them are red. On the second draw, there's 51 total cards now. And the 4 of spades is just 1 card, so only 1 option would fulfill that requirement. I'll let you guys plug in from here. Go ahead and pause your video then and try D and E on your own. Alright, and here are the answers to the last few questions. At this point, you can go ahead and try the practice that is on the next page.